So I'm reflecting on how I feel between my past life with, not really my past life, but teenage years and whatnot in my past home. Before I knew my dad well, the main problem was my mum. I could say that for sure. Now when I reflect on it, and after living a year with my dad, I realized, of course, my dad has much more flaws than I knew, much more flaws. And I'm actually not sure now. I'm not sure who is, it doesn't really matter who's more at fault. It just matters the whole context overall. And so that's what I'm trying to piece together. That's what I'm trying to puzzle together, the context. The context was before, the vast majority is my mum's fault and less is my dad's. My dad was very, very, very good at playing the victim. Better than my mum. That's what I realized. So what my mum tends to do is she tends to weaponize information. And weaponize, if she feels guilty about something, she will reflect it back onto that person as if they are the ones that did it, or they try to change the subject, or they try to put it as less important. So they say sorry, and then they say, look, this is not very important, let's move on from the subject. And they try to make you feel guilty. So the fight back is what my mum does. My dad doesn't do that. My dad plays the victim role extremely, usually not the fight backs. He will only fight back when he feels, what is it? If anything tarnishes his name, or if anything makes him far away from the things that he wants to get, then he will fight back. But he plays the victim role to get sympathy and get care and love and just not admiration, but just being seen, being a person. And that makes him someone that is very just fake. He's fake. He's not very conscious of what he is conscious of what he's doing. I don't know how to explain it. So the whole context of this recording is that I'm reflecting on how I'm feeling. And what I've seen of, maybe some proof and whatnot. My dad is definitely at massive fault. That's what I'm realizing. And it's bad. So I was somewhat of a golden child, actually. If I was the golden child and I lived with my mum, then it would be very dangerous. My life would be quite dangerous. I would be losing my soul, I would be losing my identity. Even if my life was kind of peaceful and kind of upgraded, it would be like an allegiance. That's what kind of the narcissist wants, definitely. Us against the world. And yet they will play like friends and alliances with people, but they will stab them in the back later on, usually, what they do is. Or they'll get rid of them when they're no longer useful. And it's the same with me as well. I'm also in an alliance, but I'm a closer alliance than anybody else would be. So maybe it would be 10 years of kind of peace. So the problem with that route is that, of course, I wouldn't be myself, but I wouldn't be following my own journey, my own road, which is extremely bad. Like really, really bad. So life with my mum and dad is both torture, regardless of whoever I'm with. However, life with my dad is significantly worse. That's what I realized. He's a sinking ship. My mum is usually not a sinking ship. She's a fake ship. Like the ship is, I don't even know how to explain it, but the ship is fake. But there is building. She's building an empire, but it's a toxic empire. She's building a toxic ship to destroy all of the other ships around. That's what she's building. So even though there is temporary harmony, you could call it, and good life, later on, the consequences are quite heavy with both myself and of life. So I would become narcissistic and maybe a narcissist also, definitely. That's usually what happens to like the golden child, is my best guess at the moment with the amount of knowledge that I've acquired, probably 3,000 hours or so of knowledge minimum. It's not very, very, very important of the length. It just shows that definitely I have some experience with picking up knowledge. More is how you contain knowledge and what you do with the knowledge, how you compound with the knowledge and link it, bridge it, understand the complexities. So there's that definitely going on. So the golden child usually becomes the narcissist in the end of the roads or midway through. With my dad it's worse because immediate life is worse. So current life is worse, midway is worse, and future is nothing as well. My dad doesn't have any passions, he doesn't have any future projections, he doesn't have anything. He's living like he's 100% not going to touch. 70 years old, 80 years old, he's not going to touch. Like he's already made that decision. Besides God, besides life, he's already made a decision. It's not going to happen. It might happen. You know, he might end up 75, 80, 85, 90. But in his mind, he is living like he's not going to. So he's going to go through a lot of torture if he ends up living to 80, 90 years old. Big torture. Even 70. Even his life currently is torture. So he's not a builder. My mum's a builder. My dad's not a builder. My dad clings on to things, which is extremely, extremely bad. Reason why is because anything that is bad around him, anything, like let's say cola is bad for you, right? He'll cling on to cola. That's just a symbolism, an example. It's not literally in that way, but in multiple instances with people, whatnot, it's that way. And him clinging to clinging to people, clinging to investments, clinging to ideas, dreams and lies. So his whole life becomes a soup of lies because he clings on to it as his savior, as his temporary relief. So this guy is a temporary relief guy. My mum's not like that. My mum does think about what's going to happen 3 years later, 5 years later. She's too much of the kind of future builder, a bit leaning on. So she doesn't live her current life. So what my mum would do is she wouldn't buy good clothes for herself, even though we have the money, 100% we have the money, and we have some spare money also. It's completely fine, you can afford it. She doesn't. One of the reasons why is because of future savings, and I want to have this asset, and then I want to get into this, and I want to buy some gold, blah blah blah. Securing the wealth, securing the future, securing the web of connections, for example, socially as well. My dad is not like that. He doesn't have a web of socializing. Even if he did, he wouldn't rely on it. He would be relying on a person or an idea or a fantasy to be the the web of social circle for him, to replace that basically, and to dictate whatever happens around him and in his life. So it's worse. Living with my dad is 100%, without a doubt, it's worse. The only good thing about living with my mum, like the main good thing that I'm just packaging here, is the current times. Current times is good. 5 years later, not so much. 10 years later, definitely not good. So at the end of the day, I made the correct decision. But it is very saddening to reflect on this, that I'm sad. It's okay to feel sad. It's just I am sad because I'm not able to be with my healthy mum. My mum's not healthy. I'm not able to be with my dad. And not my dad that I'm talking about right now, but just dad symbolizing in general. Unfortunately. And for example, my dad's soul is finished. I kind of like my mum's soul a bit. Maybe she's a bit soulless, there's that as well. But I feel like my mum has some soul compared to my dad. I don't even know how to explain it. Because she does things, okay, she gets fed up of things very fast, very easily. But I don't know, it's like I feel something there. It's broken soul, but there's still something there. With my dad, strangely, it feels like there's nothing there. It feels like the people in his past also and scenarios have completely deteriorated the soul that was once there. That's how I feel like. When I'm around my dad, because my dad is a little bit definitely strange. He takes over your privacy, and not in like a open way, in like a secretive way. He uses your toothbrush, and on purpose, I bought him specifically a what's it called, hair trimmer, same one, beard trimmer, and I put one onto one side of the corner and one onto one side. So his one is closest to him, and he still used mine. He used mine just before I went on holiday. So it's almost impossible that happened on accident. And this happened multiple times. He did some other disgusting things around me when I was just normally talking to him, like, inappropriate things. Not to me, but around me. He did have that predatory kind of profile, 100%. So I think my dad is completely lost. My dad is like swimming in the abyss, completely gone, like an actual zombie. But there's no flicker of this person that once existed. The only thing I can say is when I was much younger is maybe I saw some flicker of my dad, possibly, when I was 5-10 years old. But I can't trust on that judgment because it was a long time ago, and plus I was a kid. Maybe I was just imagining it. But that's how it was. Genuinely, that's how it was. My dad is definitely extremely deteriorated. It's not like my mum. My mum is damaged, badly damaged, very badly damaged, but not disintegrated. She's not 100% gone. She's like 90-95% gone. So there's that 5-10% there. That's why somewhat I love my mum, somewhat, and I wish, like, if I could give £1 million, I would 100% do it now, to have my mum be healthy, and the regular mum, just herself, as she is. The imperfections, perfections, all there. And that's literally impossible. It is literally impossible. That's the reality, that's the brutality of it. So that would be one of my wishes, one of my, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything because this is the current. It's been the current life. I'm somewhat used to it. It comes in waves where I miss it and I wish. And part of the reason why is my mum did damage my dad a lot, 100%, without a doubt on my life. I can say this. Maybe it's just a guess up into the air, a random guess. But if I was to imagine, it would be roughly 60% of my dad's total damage is just from my mum. Just from my mum. So the amount of damage that is received from my mum is incredible. Incredible. And she would do the same to me. If I was to be living around her and be in her proximity, she would try to do it to me as well. She's done it, when I was younger, definitely. I think I'm 30% damaged, maybe 50% damaged. That's how I feel like. But nowhere near to the degree that they have lost their sense of humanity is gone, like just genuinely. And it was really hard to accept that because I was used to being around them. I was used to the profile that I had in my head that existed, the norm. The norm that was existing around me was normal. It was, this is my mom, this is my dad. I know they are really, really messed up, but they are them. And to shift, to go through the stages of what I'm currently doing now, of this last 2 years or so, of these people don't exist, is kind of like, it's hard to take. And the reason why I'm doing it is not too much conscious. Like, I'm not thinking in my head, okay, time to delete them off my consciousness. It's just that my kind of soul, I don't know if it's my soul, I don't know if it's my subconscious, maybe both, is deleting them. It's not a plan. It's the stage. I don't know how to explain it better than that currently. So that's the stage I'm in, and it's saddening. Like, that's the reason why I'm making this. I feel sad. It's okay to feel sad, but I just feel sad. Like, really, really sad. Like a tsunami of sadness. I can't cry right now. This past year, I've usually not been crying. Like, I've had a harder time crying. But that's how I feel. Like, my body is not so much going into the depth of trauma currently. I don't know why. Like, I'm away, the body is kind of pretending like that existed, but currently your life is more important right now. This current version of reality is more important, so we're going to prioritize this. We're going to put the trauma into a box, maybe, I don't know. Or like, we're going to have it scattered around the room. That's how it feels. So my body or my subconscious, my brain, is not focused on that whatsoever. That's why I can't cry, because I'm not inside of it. Before, it was much easier to cry because I was inside of it. I was in the proximity. I remember one of the most devastating cries that I had, because I've cried a lot, like, of course, like everybody, everyone cries. But I remember vividly, like, one of the most devastating cries I had was to, like, Toy Story. It was silly as hell, I understand, but I think I was like age 10 or something, and I felt sad for my life. I felt sad for my life. Not because of outside treatment was actually good, Up till like age 11 years old, I was getting treated really good from like 3 to 11. Not from my parents, but from anyone outside. Because I was good looking. I definitely was good looking. You know, maybe like a 7 out of 10 against all the other children. I was good looking, genuinely. Maybe even 8. So I was getting a lot of validation. People were happy to see me all the time, like with no reason whatsoever. I haven't done anything. So I was getting treated good, but the lifestyle that I had still with my parents, it was bad. And it was bad, it was dysfunctional. That's the best way to put it, the best word. Dysfunctional. Just very up and downy. And there was no stabilization, there was no empathy, there was no genuine care, there was a lot of neglect. You know what I mean? Both from my dad and from my mum. From my mum, let's say the mum, I don't know, talks to you, lets you cry on her shoulder, gives you a warm hug, and just feels present with you, just feels like that feeling of presence. Like you're holding a soul, you're I don't know, you're kind of... I got that similar feeling with one of my aunts, which felt good, it felt amazing. And I wish that she brought me up, I wish that I lived with them, because I think she would be a warmer mother figure. There's actually 2, I got 2 aunts that would be a way more warmer mother figure, 100%. So I didn't have that, I didn't have the huggy, touchy stuff like that. Like, it's not like I never hugged my mum, but there was none of that kind of thing, no. It was more like a job, it was like a business. And my dad, he didn't hang around with me whatsoever, he did not. On God's honest truth, like just 95% of the time he wouldn't hang around with me. There was no fishing trips, there was no going to the cinema together, there was no going to the arcades together. Genuinely, there was none. Genuinely. There was no car rides, side quests, nothing with my dad. No, nothing. If my dad was not at home and he was living somewhere else, and I saw him once a week for like, let's say 3 hours, 5 hours, it would be the same. Exactly the same. No difference. That was my reality. It did bother me, but it just became normal. It wouldn't be like I'm angry at this person. It would just be that is normal, I guess. That's my life. That's the cards that I'm dealt with. So I never had this kind of I hate my dad, blah blah blah, for like years and years. Nah, I currently do now, but for different reasons. Not because he was neglectful and not present and not a father in general. 100%. So it's good that he was there, you know, probably better than him not being there at all. But maybe it would be best if he was, sometimes I would see him on weekends. That would be better, I think. Honestly, I think this. And I say this here because one, it's soothing, like it soothes my mind and it's kind of a therapy, it's good. But also, like I like this kind of openness, I like this kind of, with the general public, I like that. This doesn't feel like it's invading my privacy. It feels like if anybody's gonna listen to this, it could be a boost in someone's life. It can be helpful, you know, not like a Superman kind of way, but just it's good to look at other people's lives in like a genuine, real, open way, kind of transparent way, you know. And that's why I record. And also to understand myself, that's why I record also. when you hear yourself, you kind of get to understand yourself a bit more. Because when you live inside of your head and you don't say anything outside, like out loud, and you don't listen to your own recording, you get lost in your thoughts. It's like you're not in touch too much with yourself. That's what I noticed. So that's what I'm hoping for. That is sad, you know. It's sad that I always knew this, but I come to the realization of I didn't have a dad. Of course, I didn't have a mum either, but at least the mum was somewhat there, somewhat, you know, present in her own way, in her own dysfunctional way, present, kind of. But my dad was like finished. Pretty much no presence. Even when I was young ages, I felt like I was the man. Like I felt like I was the dad. I was the one calling the shots. I was the one. It wasn't necessarily the dad giving his son flexibility. It wasn't like that. It was hard circumstances, problems arise, and I'm the one who's usually fixing the problems. It's crazy, you know. It's actually crazy. You know, age 13, age 15, it's impressive. Like sometimes I'm very proud of myself, but I would rather have a dad, you know, like sometimes I would rather have a dad that trusts me and gives me that kind of flexibility. Great, fantastic. But it wasn't that way. It was because I had to do it. You know. It's like you're in a jungle, you fight with a bunch of animals because you have to do it. It's not because, you know, that you were given that freedom and that trust and that confidence building and that manliness and that build of character. I wish it was. But unintentionally, that's what grew as well, which is good. But it just wasn't so much on purpose. It was just a side effect. That's how it was. That's it. Hopefully you found something from this video, and I'll see you in the next.